30 seconds. Inshallah. You can start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم وإن تسألوا عنها حين ينزل القرآن تبد لكم عفى الله عنها والله غفور حليم. قد سألها قوم من قبلكم ثم أصبحوا بها كافرين. ما جعل الله من بحيرة ولا سائبة ولا وصيلة ولا حام ولكن الذين كفروا يفترون على الله الكذب وأكثرهم لا يعقلون. وإذا قيل لهم تعالوا إلى ما أنزل الله وإلى الرسول قالوا حسبنا ما وجدنا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعلمون شيئا ولا يهتدون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا عليكم أنفسكم لا يضركم من ضل إذا اهتديتم إلى الله مرجعكم جميعا فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا شهادة بينكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت حين الوصية اثنان ذوى عدل منكم أو آخران من غيركم إن أنتم ضربتم في الأرض فأصابتكم مصيبة الموت تحبسونهما من بعد الصلاة فيقسمان بالله إن ارتبتم لا نشتري به ثمنا ولو كان ذا قربى ولا نكتم شهادة الله إنا إذا لمن الآثمين. فإن عثر على أنهما استحقا إثما فآخران يقومان مقامهما من الذين استحق عليهم الأوليان فيقسمان بالله لشهادتنا أحق من شهادتهما وما اعتدينا إنا إذا لمن الظالمين. ذلك أدنى أن يأتوا بالشهادة على وجهها أو يخافوا أن ترد أيمان بعد أيمانهم واتقوا الله واسمعوا والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. يوم يجمع الله الرسل فيقول ماذا أجبتم قالوا لا علم لنا إنك أنت علام الغيوب. إذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم اذكر نعمتي عليك وعلى والدتك إذ أيدتك بروح القدس تكلم الناس في المهد وكهلا وإذ علمتك الكتاب والحكمة والتوراة والإنجيل وإذ تخلق من الطين كهيئة الطير بإذني فتنفخ فيها فتكون طيرا بإذني وتبرئ الأكمه والأبرص بإذني وإذ تخرج الموتى بإذني وإذ كففت بني إسرائيل عنك إذ جئتهم بالبينات فقال الذين كفروا منهم إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. وإذ أوحيت إلى الحواريين أن آمنوا بي وبرسولي قالوا آمنا واشهد بأننا مسلمون. إذ قال الحواريون يا عيسى ابن مريم هل يستطيع ربك أن ينزل علينا مائدة من السماء قال اتقوا الله إن كنتم مؤمنين. قالوا نريد أن نأكل منها وتطمئن قلوبنا ونعلم أن قد صدقتنا ونكون عليها من الشاهدين. قال عيسى ابن مريم اللهم ربنا أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا وآية منك وارزقنا وأنت خير الرازقين. قال الله إني منزلها عليكم فمن يكفر بعد منكم فإني فإني أعذبه عذابا لا أعذبه أحدا من العالمين. وإذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم أأنت قلت للناس اتخذوني وأمي إلهين من دون الله قال سبحانك ما يكون لي أن أقول ما ليس لي بحق إن كنت قلته فقد علمته تعلم ما في نفسي ولا أعلم ما في نفسك إنك أنت علام الغيوب. ما قلت لهم إلا ما أمرتني به أن اعبدوا الله ربي وربكم وكنت عليهم شهيدا ما دمت فيهم فلما توفيتني كنت أنت الرقيب عليهم وأنت على كل شيء شهيد. إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. قال الله هذا يوم ينفع الصادقين صدقهم لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك الفوز العظيم. لله ملك السماوات والأرض وما فيهن وهو على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. Now, inshallah, Sheikh Saim Asif will join us for Tafsir al-Quran. So please stand by.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن العظيم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخش إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين. صدق الله العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be once again learning about the Quran knowing that it is the best of all speech, and in general seeking knowledge. It is mentioned in a hadith that a person that goes out to learn an ayah of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get the reward of praying 100 salahs, rak'at of nafil salah. And in the same narration, it is mentioned further that a person who goes to seek to learn a chapter of knowledge, this person will get the reward of 1,000 rak'at of nafil salah. So this is a huge reward that we're getting for learning about the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us tawfiq to sit in this gathering and to listen. Moving forward, yesterday we spoke about qualities of the believers in detail, and we spoke about why we need to learn about these qualities so that we can have a benchmark, so that we can compare ourselves to the qualities that Allah has mentioned in the Quran of a prototype, a model believer, and try to get to that level. And we mentioned many of these. And today, actually, we'll speak about one more. I think I mentioned it yesterday, but this ayah of the Quran also further corroborates it, is being attached to the masajid and going to the masjid and tending to the places of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worship. The ayah, the translation is, the only ones who should tend Allah's places of worship are those who believe in God and in the last day, who keep up the prayer, who pay the prescribed alms, meaning zakat, and who fear no one but Allah. Such people may hope to be amongst the rightly guided. And in the hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had mentioned, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّجُلَ يَعْتَادُ الْمَسْجِدَ فَاشْهَدُوا لَهُ بِالْإِيمَانِ. If you ever seen a person regularly coming to the masjid, making his habit, then bear witness that he has iman. And then he recited this ayah. So it's a sign of iman that we consistently go to the masjid, and there are so many different virtues of the masjid. It is actually mentioned in a hadith that the masjid has certain people who are like pegs of the masjid, and the angels are pegs or something which are firmly rooted in something. So the same way these people are firmly rooted in the masjid. So these people are like pegs. الْمَلَائِكَةُ جُلَسَاؤُهُم. The angels are the companions of these people who are regular at the masjid. إِنْ غَابُوا يَفْتَقِدُونَهُم. If they are absent from the masjid, the angels actually come out and they start looking for this person, that where is this person? He used to come to the masjid. وَإِنْ مَرِضُوا عَادُوهُم. And if they ever get sick, then the angels actually come to visit them, imagine. وَإِنْ كَانُوا فِي حَاجَةٍ أَعَانُوهُم. And if they're in any need, the angels actually help them. So this is, if you look at it, such a great virtue of coming to the masjid, that literally the angels become your companions. They look for you when you're gone. They visit you when you're sick, and they help you. They actually help you when you have some sort of need. And then the hadith goes on to say, جَلِيسُ الْمَسْجِدِ عَلَى ثَلَاثَةِ خِصَالٍ. That a person who comes to the masjid and sits, he always gets one of three benefits. أَخٌ مُسْتَفَادٌ. He gets a brother from whom he benefits from. It could be due to his speech or whatever way it may be, but he benefits from this brother. أَوْ كَلِمَةٌ مُحْكَمَةٌ. Or he hears a word of wisdom from which he benefits from. أَوْ رَحْمَةٌ مُنْتَظَرَةٌ. Or he gets such a mercy that the entire creation is waiting for, and that mercy is only reserved for those people who come to the masjid. So this is a great virtue of the masajid, and there are so many others. And there's another narration that mentions that the masajid are the houses of Allah on the earth. They shine brightly to the people of the sky, just as the stars shine brightly to the people of the earth. So the angels actually see the masajid on the earth as stars. They are brightly lit, because of course they are lit up with the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His remembrance. So the masajid are amazing places. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep our hearts connected to the masjid, because it actually mentioned that for amongst the people, on the Day of Judgment, we all know that everybody will be in so much fear and trepidation, and will be extremely worried about what will be their abode, their final abode. Will they be staying in hellfire forever, or will they be staying in Jannah forever? And so on this day of panic and confusion, the sun will be right above our heads, and there will be so much heat. Some people will be drowning in their sweat. People will be sweating and sweating and sweating. So on this day, there will be 7 groups of people who will be under the shade of Allah. And ulama have actually mentioned, in different narration, there are actually more mentioned, but in this particular narration, 7 are mentioned. So, and one of these people is a person, رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ, a person whose heart is clung and is connected to the masjid. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those people whose hearts are connected to the masajid, because this is also a sign of iman. And a sign that our heart is connected to the masjid is during this pandemic, if we're feeling a sense of emptiness and a sense of longing for the masjid, then inshallah we should know that this is a sign of iman, that we have love for the masjid, that we want to come back and go to such a beautiful and amazing place where we can increase our iman and gain the spiritual blessings and benefits, gain the companionship of the angels. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to return back to the masajid as soon as possible and allow us to congregate to pray again, meet our brothers again, and increase our iman together. And masajid hold an extremely important place in the hearts of believers and in the community of Muslims, because in general, we had mentioned earlier that being alone is something which is harmful, and this is something that shaitan actually he takes advantage of. If we just stay alone, we stay away from fellow believers, shaitan takes advantage, right? Just like in a hadith it is mentioned that just like the wolf runs after the sheep which is lone, which is away from the flock, which strays away from the flock, the wolf will definitely attack way. Shaitan will attack. It will be harder for him to attack the believers who are all congregated together. Whereas when the believer is alone, it is much easier for shaitan to attack him. So it's very important for us to be connected with our masajid, with our fellow Muslim brothers, so that we can increase in our iman together, inshallah, and create a great environment of ta'awun al-birri wa taqwa, helping one another towards attaining piety and righteousness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. May Allah open our masajid. May Allah take this pandemic away as soon as possible. Next, we go to an ayah. We're now, sorry, I didn't mention, but we actually entered Surah Tawbah today. We concluded with our discussion of Surah Anfal yesterday. We entered Surah Tawbah today. So this ayah that I just spoke about, the masajid, is actually from Surah Tawbah. Continuing Surah Tawbah, Surah Tawbah talks a lot about the different expeditions and that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went on, specifically speaking about in a lot of detail about the munafiqeen, the hypocrites who never joined Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his expeditions, and they always made terrible excuses. But over here specifically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the believers, and he's juxtaposing and showing the difference between the characteristics of the hypocrites versus the characteristics of believers. Hypocrites, they made all the excuses in the world, even to the extent that they would say, "La tanfiru fil har," don't go out in the heat, right? That's such a petty excuse. It's very hot out there. So whereas if you look at the believers, this is their quality, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them, وَلَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ إِذَا مَا أَتَوْكَ لِتَحْمِلَهُمْ قُلْتَ لَا أَجِدُ مَا أَحْمِلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ تَوَلَّوْا وَأَعْيُنُهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ حَزَنًا أَلَّا يَجِدُوا مَا يُنْفِقُونَ. Nor is there any blame on those who came to you. The context of this is that ayah before this is speaking about those people whom, there's no blame for them for not being able to go out on the expedition because of their having a valid excuse. For example, al-a'ma, the person who was blind, a'raj, the person who was crippled, the person who was sick, right? These people, there's no blame for them whatsoever. And then, so Allah mentions this group of people as well on whom there is no blame. Nor is there any blame on those who came to you, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, for mounts. Then when you said, meaning they needed a mount, they needed a horse, etc., so in order for them to stay with the rest of the expedition. Then when you said, I can find no mounts for you, they left with eyes overflowing with tears out of grief that they had nothing to contribute. In other words, they were extremely sad that they could not join the expedition of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, even though they tried their best. They went to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they asked him, can you please give us some sort of, they didn't have any means themselves to arrange for transport. They asked for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to arrange for transport for them, but they were not able to. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not able to at the time due to lack of funds or whatever the reason may be. So but what was their reaction? Their reaction was like, okay, whatever, I tried, I did my part. I mean, I'm a good thing I don't have any blame on me anymore. But that wasn't their mindset. They weren't just trying to. This tells the attitude of the believers of amongst the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. They didn't have the habit. They didn't have the mindset that I'm just trying to fulfill my duty. And if I don't get if I tried my best, then whatever. That's not my problem. I got it. I did what I had to do. No, they had a genuine desire and genuine love to strive for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had a genuine drive, a genuine desire to spread the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why when they were not able to, what did they do? They literally started crying. Their eyes were overflowing with tears out of grief that they had nothing to contribute. So imagine how beloved this action was to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He revealed an ayah about these specific people. The tafsirs mentioned a few names of Sahaba who this was referring to. Imagine now all of the believers till the end of time. Right now there are about 2 billion Muslims on the face of the earth, and then on top of that there are people dying every single day, more Muslims being born every single day, more people becoming Muslim. So literally billions and billions of Muslims till the day of judgment. They'll be reciting this ayah and remembering those people who had such zeal and love for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they literally cried when they couldn't go to help the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is that jazba, this is that desire, this is that zeal that we have to create within ourselves as well. We don't, right now, currently, our mindset is, and our attitude is just to get things over with. And if you're not able to do it, I mean, so what? I wasn't able to do it. That's it. It's not my fault, problem. Allah's not going to take me to account for what I can't do. Okay, whatever. But the thing isn't about just fulfilling a duty. It's about having a genuine desire of helping the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so it's mentioned in a hadith actually that when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they were in the expedition, then he mentioned, inna bil madinati aqwaman ma qata'tum wadiyan wa la sirtum sayran illa wa hum ma'akum qalu wa hum bil madinah qala na'am habasahum al-'udhr. He mentioned that surely there are people left back in Medina who are with you for every valley you cross and for every trail you take. So then the Sahaba asked, who were with him, they asked, even while they're in Medina, meaning they're probably thinking that we're making all this effort, traveling in this heat, making all this sacrifice, and they're getting the same reward we're getting. What's the reason for that? They were a little shocked. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Naam, yes, habasahum al-'udhr." They were held back due to a valid reason, and in this case, of course, it's a valid reason that they genuinely wanted to come, but they weren't able to due to their lack of having a ride. So that is the mindset that we have to create within ourselves, to have a genuine want to fulfill the desires. It's a genuine want to fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next ayah we're going to go into is an ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's telling Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take, and Allah is talking about take sadaqah from them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so I'll read the translation of the ayah: take from their wealth, O Prophet, charity, sadaqah, to purify and bless them, and pray for them. وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِمْ, and pray for them. إِنَّ صَلَاتَكَ سَكَنٌ لَهُمْ, surely your prayer is a source of comfort for them, and Allah is all hearing and all knowing. So in this ayah we learned that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam making dua for the believers is something that is a great source of comfort and tranquility for the believers. And so the Sahaba radiallahu anhu were extremely blessed, because obviously Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has made dua for all of them. And there are many ahadith as well that mention that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, may Allah have mercy on this Sahabi, may Allah have mercy on that Sahabi, made dua for them specifically. So then we probably feel kind of not jealous in the evil sense, but we feel that we also would like to gain that amazing reward and amazing tranquility that they must have felt when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for them, as is mentioned in this ayah. And we probably feel a sense of regret that if only we were living at the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and we were able to gain his du'as as well. But actually, there are many ways we can gain the du'as of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because there are many ahadith that mention different du'as of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for those who do certain actions. And I'll read some of these. These are some ahadith that came to my mind. There are many other ahadith as well, but these are some that came to my mind right now. So dua of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that we can attain today. From amongst them, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Rahimallahu imra'an salla qabla al-asri arba'an, aw kama qala alayhi wasallam. May Allah have mercy on the one who prays 4 rak'at before Asr. So this is referring to the 4 rak'at sunnah mu'akkada that we pray before Salat al-Asr. This is something that is becoming more and more rare. Sometimes even we see we might catch ourselves that we even come early to the masjid, for example, to pray Salat al-Asr, and we just sit there and we do something, maybe we're on our phone or whatever. Whereas this is something which which can be a means of great reward for us, and to attain the dua of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam of mercy, and to attain comfort and tranquility due to this dua. And then another hadith mentions, نظر الله امرأ سمع مقالتي فحفظها ووعاها فأداها كما سمعها. May Allah brighten the face of the one who hears my saying, meaning his hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's hadith, then memorizes it and duly understands it, then conveys it just as he heard it. So imagine what an amazing dua. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam making dua to enlighten the face of those who memorize a hadith and then convey it to others. So this is a great virtue of teaching and learning a hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from those who learn and teach the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is another amazing dua that we ourselves can also attain of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and this can become a means of comfort for us. Then another hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, may Allah have mercy on a man who is lenient or generous when selling, generous when buying, lenient when requesting a debt payment. So there are 3 things mentioned here. The first is who is lenient or generous. You can use either word here. The word in Arabic is samhan. So may Allah have mercy on a man who is lenient and generous with selling. What does that mean? When you're, for example, you're selling some item, then maybe you might actually give more than what the customer paid for. So that is being generous when you're selling, or you're generous in a sense that you're being lenient. That the customer, he says that I can't pay right now, but I need the item. Can I pay you in a couple of days? And you say, yeah, sure, no problem. That is being generous. That is being lenient when selling. So you're directly getting the dua of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam if you do this. Then generous when buying. Maybe you might see that the person who's selling, he needs more money, so you give extra money. Sometimes you see even people on the streets, they're not selling because they're selling small things, and sometimes you might not even need the thing, but you can just buy it just to help them out, just to support them, and maybe give them a little extra money to help their business out. So that could fall under being generous. And if the person asks for, sorry, I believe the sound got muted for a couple minutes. If the person asks for money, if the person asks for more time for fulfilling the debt, then you give them more time. That is being lenient when requesting a debt payment. Another hadith mentioned is, may Allah have mercy on those who shave their hair during Hajj or Umrah, right? Rahimallahu al-muhalliqeen. So we know that when we go for Umrah, after we're done, the last thing we do in order to come out of the state of Ihram is to shave our heads. And we might also know that there's an option that you can either shave your head, or you can just trim a small portion of it. So many of us who really like our hairstyles, and we've been working so hard on getting the perfect hairstyle, whatever it may be. When we go for Umrah or Hajj, we might just trim it because we don't want to shave it because it takes so long to get our precious hair back. But I mean, how often do we get an opportunity to go such amazing places, and how often will we be able to earn the dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam like this, right? So this is a rare opportunity we have to gain this amazing dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually made dua 3 times. First he said, Rahimallahu al-muhalliqeen, may Allah have mercy on those who shave their hair. Then the Sahaba said, what about those who trim their hair? But what the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't say yeah, he said no. He didn't say no, he said, may Allah have mercy on those who shave their hair. Again. Then they said again, what about those who trim their hair? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, may Allah have mercy on those who shave their hair. And they asked one more time, and what about those who trim their hair? And he said, and those who trim their hair. It's as if it was like a afterthought. So you can deduce from this that those who Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making dua for those who shave their hair 3 times, and those who merely trim their hair, he only made dua for them once, and that too was kind of begrudgingly. So we can get from this that, of course, that shaving your head in Hajj and Umrah is much more virtuous than merely trimming your head. Therefore, we should not miss out on this opportunity of gaining the amazing dua. This, of course, I'm speaking about the men. We should not miss out on this amazing chance to get the dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously, the more dua we get, the more it'll be a means of tranquility for us, and more it will be a means of peace and comfort for us as well. Then another hadith, beautiful hadith, it mentions a man and his wife and how they worship together. This hadith says, may Allah have mercy on a man who gets up in the night and prays, and wakes his wife up and she prays. And wakes his wife up and she prays. And if she doesn't get up, sprinkles water in her face. And may Allah have mercy on a woman who gets up in the night and prays and wakes up her husband. And if he doesn't get up, sprinkles water in her face. Sorry, I believe the slides aren't showing. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'll repeat the hadith one more time. May Allah have mercy on a man who gets up in the night and prays, and wakes his wife up and she prays. And if she doesn't get up, sprinkles water in her face. And may Allah have mercy on a woman who gets up in the night and prays, and wakes up her husband. And if he doesn't get up, sprinkles water in his face. This is a beautiful hadith. Teaches how we should be with our spouses. We should both be encouraging each other to becoming closer to Allah, to increasing in our ibadah. Right? We shouldn't be selfish in our ibadah. We shouldn't just only be doing our ibadah alone. Rather, we should be pushing our spouses, and we should actually be competing with one another who can do more and more good actions, and we at the same time be helping each other in doing good actions. And so Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually made special dua for this couple that does this, for the man who does this, and as for the woman who does this with her husband as well. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. So these are just some of the du'as that that we can attain of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Such an amazing thought if you think about it. Yes, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam definitely made general dua for the ummah, right? And we know many of us have probably heard the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Nabi Aisha radiallahu anha requested him for dua. And so Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive Aisha radiallahu anha's sins, that which has passed and that which will come. And then Aisha radiallahu anha became so happy that she laughed and laughed until her head reached her lap. That's how happy she was about this dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that this was the dua that he makes for his ummah all the time. So more or less the meaning. So definitely Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did make dua for his ummah as a whole. Inshallah, we will get that dua as well. But these are specific duas, and we will get a special amount of reward, and we will get a special amount of mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, as this ayah tells us, it's something that everybody's looking for. Everybody's looking for comfort, and everybody's looking for tranquility. Everybody's looking for peace. But these attaining these du'as of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is actually a means of us attaining peace in our life as well. So may Allah give us all tawfiq to act upon all of these actions so that we can attain all of these du'as of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Going into the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he speaks about how He has purchased from the believers their lives and wealth in exchange for paradise. So, and that's the translation of the ayah. I'll just read it again. Allah has indeed purchased from the believers their lives and wealth in exchange for paradise. So, this is a simile that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a metaphor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought in the Quran to show the believers that he is in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to tell us that we have Jannah in store for us. And a little explanation of this metaphor, as some of the scholars mentioned, that in this metaphor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the buyer. And who is the seller? We are actually selling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something. That is us, and that is the believers. And what are we selling? What is the merchandise that we're selling? Ourselves and our wealth. We're giving up our lives for the sake of Allah. We're giving our wealth for the sake of Allah. We're sacrificing our temptations. We're believing in the kalima la ilaha illallah. We're following the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the greatest extent. We're giving ourselves completely up for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the merchandise. What is the price of this merchandise, which is ourselves and wealth? It is Jannah. And who is the agent? Who is the one who is making the deal happen? Because sometimes we have an agent. Sometimes the seller isn't directly dealing with the buyer. Rather, he has an agent who is taking care of the selling for him. So in this case, the Prophet ﷺ, and you can also say those who call towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Nabi ﷺ is the one who conveyed this message to us in the first place, that Allah is buying ourselves and wealth in exchange for Jannah. So he is actually the agent between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can also say da'is, callers towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. They are actually, you could say that they are Allah's agents, that they are basically selling for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sorry, they're buying on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the middleman in this deal are the angels, because they're the ones who are conveying the message to the prophets. And some interesting things to note about this is that somebody only buys something if the merchandise he's buying is more valuable to him than the price. So for example, if you're going to the store to buy hand sanitizer, nowadays hand sanitizer, especially a couple months ago, it was extremely expensive, it was extremely valuable. So imagine a person is willing to give up $50, $40 just for a small little bottle of hand sanitizer. That's because to that person, the need that he had for that hand sanitizer was much more than the need that he had for those $45. So that's a general rule. That it's like a common sense fact, that whenever you buy something, the price that you're giving is less valuable to you than the thing that you're buying. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy it. So the point that's being made here is that to us, when we're giving up ourselves for the sake of Allah, when we're sacrificing our desires for the sake of Allah, when we're giving up our wealth for the sake of Allah, we are actually showing Allah that, oh Allah, we see Jannah to be more valuable than our own selves, than our own desires, than our own wealth, and vice versa as well. We see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually loves us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves our possessions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to see our worship, our actions, our good actions, more than he actually loves Jannah itself. Then another interesting thing to note here is that if someone doesn't know the value of something, then you look at the person who's buying it, right? Let's say if you see some sort of merchandise, or you see something at a store and you don't know how much value it has. Let's say if you're at an auction, you don't know if something's actually real or if it's good quality, etc. Then all of a sudden you see this billionaire coming and say, and he's looking to buy this item, and he goes to the person and he's saying that I'll pay an extremely high sum. For example, I'll pay $500,000 for this thing. So then obviously you're going to be like, whoa, this thing must be very high quality if this person is buying it and for that high sum. So in the same thing, if we look at the value of a believer, of a mu'min, and his wealth and his possessions and his self, we might not be able to tell what the value is. But now you look at who the buyer is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is buying it. And how much he's paying for it? Jannah, right? Jannah is obviously something which is much, much better than anything in this dunya. And it's mentioned in a hadith also, in Sirat Allah Ghaliya, that the merchandise of Allah is very expensive. It is very valuable. And the merchandise of Allah is Jannah. So this actually shows us the value of our own selves and our own wealth, that when we give it up for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is extremely beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's a lot of emphasis that Allah has placed in this ayah, but there's not enough time to go into it, inshallah. But hopefully from this we can see that Allah is offering us and is emphasizing to us that He is going to give us Jannah in exchange for everything that we do for Him. So this should give us more hope and more desire to give up for the sake of Allah, give up our wealth for the sake of Allah, give up our desires for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then inshallah we know for sure that if Allah is promising us that He's going to sell it, then we know that He's going to give us the price, right? And there's no one who is more trustworthy than Allah. That's what later in the ayah Allah says, وَمَنْ أَوْفَى بِعَهْدِهِ مِنَ اللَّهِ. Who is more fulfilling of his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who can be more fulfilling of his promise than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we know that nobody can be more fulfilling of his promise. Therefore, we should trust in Allah's promise and give up ourselves for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sell ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just think that, okay, I've sold myself to Allah now. I can't just do whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever He wants from me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. May Allah accept all of our a'mal in the month of Ramadan. I'm not sure how the days are working in Ramadan over there in America, but I believe today might be the final day of tafsir. I'm not sure. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept and allow us to implement all the points that were mentioned. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us true love for the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of our shortcomings. May Allah forgive my shortcomings for anything that I said wrong in this session. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a means of benefit for myself, make it a means of benefit for all of those who listen, and even for those who did not listen, by the people who listened, conveying to others. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.